America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. Sorry for the shot here. I'm tucked away in a bunker somewhere outside the city of Chicago. Good morning, TikTok. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, I swear, I do declare that on his deathbed one day, Donald Trump, as he's lying there on his deathbed, man, about to meet his maker, man, his last words, Trump's very last words on this planet are going to be, it's Biden. Biden's fault. Biden did it. It's Biden's fault. Those are going to be Trump's last words. That'll be the very last thing Donald Trump says before he breathes his last. We'll get into all of that in a minute. I'll sufficiently rip Donald Trump before this show is over. But let's move away from Trump for a moment and get to what's much, much more important. That's us. That's you and I. That's the American people having conversations. I'm actually not in a bunker. I am in the city of Chicago. I'm in Chicago this week having a few conversations, right? We're back out on the road this week, having face-to-face conversations with folks in and around Chicago. That's all content, again, that we're filming, and we'll have that up within a couple weeks. But today, again, TikTok, we're talking about folks in Los Angeles today, a conversation I had a week or so ago with folks in Los Angeles, specifically progressives. Remember, the whole point of this is I want to talk to Americans of all political viewpoints. I want to hear from and listen to everybody. I believe that everybody in this country hungers face-to-face conversation. That's why we're doing this, TikTok. That's why I'm devoting everything I do to not just defeating what Trump is, but on helping to heal the divide in this country. We will only heal the divide in this country, I believe, through conversation. We talked a little bit about the folks in LA on Monday. Again, all of the content we filmed, this conversational stuff, it's all right there on Substack. Go check it out. Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. You can watch all of the lengthier versions of all of these conversations. Today, I want to show you what these Hollywood liberals had to say about all of this pronoun business, the transgender business, this culture war stuff. It's fascinating, and you'll find out as you listen. Again, these are Los Angeles progressives, men and women on the left, reflecting upon what went wrong in the election. And here they're reflecting on the pronoun stuff. The they, the them, the he, the she, all of the litany of the pronoun stuff that Trump and Republicans made a really, really big deal about. And here are folks on the left thinking about that, reflecting upon that, contemplating what did Democrats do wrong? Where did the left go wrong? Such an important thing to do. TikTok, MAGA, none of us do enough of this. None of us self-reflect enough. The things we say, the things we've done wrong, the mistakes we've made, when we've been out of line, when we've been cruel. We have a guy in the White House who's utterly humanly incapable of self-reflection. That's Trump. But we, the American people, man, we should be capable of it. I'm going to play for you right now. TikTok, I'm going to hold the phone again, TikTok. About a 2-3 minute clip of this group of Los Angeles progressives, and then we'll talk about it. This group of Los Angeles progressives talking about, looking back on all the pronoun stuff, all the transgender stuff, and then we'll talk about it. Keith, give it to me.
She's for they, them, I'm for you.
Yeah.
It uses the language of gender to say a much broader statement about outsourcing jobs, about not having your back on tax policy, about people paying taxes and not seeing anything. It uses both things at the same time.
There are people who believe when Trump said those words, she's for they, them, I'm for you, that won him the election. Why was that so powerful? This pronoun business.
It's getting people fired up about something that really hits home with a majority of Christian people in this country and others. But it's really hitting home in a way that it rocks their comfort level. A transgendered issue is such a tiny percent of the population that it's insane to me watching this entire political season talking about this one issue that, I mean, really, this is what we are all talking about? It is not the biggest problem.
You're right.
But it rocks people's sense of security. This is what lost them, is that they kept defending it. And instead...
I don't think they did. I think Kamala didn't say squat about it.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
The Republicans constantly battled against it.
Yeah.
And the Democrats didn't, they were still defending they, them and diversity and all of these things. So maybe they weren't enough. And you can have a lot of people, especially in LA, say it's not enough, but they didn't. They did.
Give me an honest answer, though, everybody. Did the left, over time, I'm just asking, go too far?
Okay,
I'm just asking.
Yes.
Because I want the left to win.
Why they lost? Yes, they did go too far. Because what ended up happening is exactly what you said. People were not being seen by the Democratic Party because they were fighting for the little, small, tiny groups and making those the big, important parts of everything that they're talking about, and they're not fighting for the kitchen table issue.
Great stuff. Hope you picked that up, TikTok. I love that question. Did the left go too far pushing all this pronoun stuff? And here you had a group of 6 lefties from Los Angeles, and 5 of the 6 said yes. The left pushed the pronoun stuff too far. The left pushed the pronoun stuff too hard. The left pushed the pronoun stuff too fast. This was a group of Los Angeles left of center people who predominantly said this. Again, the beauty of these conversations is we gain understanding. Like, I sat down with 6 liberals out in LA. Why did the pronoun stuff really help Trump and hurt Kamala Harris? And they understood that. They had an answer for it. It worked. The they, them, that commercial. Remember that commercial Trump played? She's for they, them, I'm for you. Democrats acknowledge, rightly or wrongly, fairly or unfairly, yes, I am sitting on the floor. I am in a bunker, Cyrex. The left realizes that issue hurt them. Now, why does that issue resonate with Trump supporters? When you listen to folks on the left, it's because it fires them up. It fires Christians up. It rocks their comfort level. These LA progressives said it rocks their comfort level. What an interesting phrase. Transgender Americans rock the comfort level of MAGA voters, of conservatives. Look, I think there's a lot of truth to that. And that was, they all acknowledged, each and every one of these progressives acknowledged that it was insane that this TikTok became such a big fucking issue, right? They said that over. Why is this an issue, right? COVID, the economy, the border, immigration, Ukraine, all of these big, profound issues, and Donald Trump spending $300 million on transgender Americans. The left still can't fully grasp why this issue is so powerful to certain Americans, why it played so well with certain Americans. At one level, it is insane. How many transgender Americans are there? How many transgender American athletes in college are there? I could go. How many instances in schools around the country do we have transgender bathroom and locker room issues? It's minuscule, right? It's minuscule. And the right does what I used to do on the right, man, take one case and blow it up and go on Fox News and tell the Fox News audience that this is happening everywhere around the country. I get that Trump and the right and MAGA did that during the campaign. But I thought the most interesting thing, again, we're listening for understanding as we have these conversations. Remember, I asked Monday, we talked about Monday in the clip that you can see on my Substack. If you go to my Substack, why did people vote for Trump? I asked people on the left, these folks on the left, why do people vote for Trump? Why are people drawn to Trump? And they didn't just give negative answers. They didn't just say racism, bigotry, they're stupid. They didn't just say that. They said some of that, but they also said the economy, said jobs. They also said Trump was the first candidate for president who actually saw and heard so many of these people. They responded to that. Positive reasons that the left gave for why people are drawn to Trump. In these conversations that I'm having with people from the left and right and the middle all over the country, the honest self-reflection I find to be the most amazing. Like, undoubtedly, when I sit down with a group of progressives, I'm going to ask them, what'd you do wrong? What's wrong with your side? Where did your side make mistakes? When I sit down with MAGA and Trump last night in Chicago, I sat down with a couple Trump supporters. What has Trump done wrong? What does MAGA get wrong? How does MAGA contribute to the divide? You ask these questions and you talk about these issues where Americans have to self-reflect and examine and critique themselves, their own side. Man, I think that's really important. And I think that's really helpful. We got into this fight, though, I did with these progressives. Did the Democrats fight back? Like Trump threw out in the campaign all the transgender bullshit. Trump threw it out. He spent $300 million trying to convince the American people that transgender Americans are everywhere in the country, and they're competing with women in sports everywhere, and they're in locker rooms and bathrooms everywhere, and they're ruining America. Trump spent $300 million doing that. And the question I put in front of these progressives, what did the Democrats do to fight that, if anything? And they thought that the Democrats, it was about split. Half of these Los Angeles progressives thought the Democrats fought back sufficiently. The other half said they didn't fight back enough. I don't think Kamala Harris fought back enough on the transgender issue. I don't think Kamala Harris and the Democrats fought back on the transgender issue at all. I've said before, I think most Americans are where Democrats are when it comes to transgender Americans. And I said in this clip, I'm newly, proudly woke. I love to embrace the concept of woke. Most Americans, we talked about this, and you can see it on the full-length clip. Most Americans are loving and embracing and tolerant when it comes to our transgender brothers and sisters. Most Americans are. Most Americans look at transgender women in sports and say, hold on a minute, let's make sure the competition's fair. That's all. That's where most Americans are. Most Americans look at transgender men and women in bathrooms and locker rooms, and they say, hold on, let's respect the privacy rights of both sides, all parties. That's where most Americans are. But yet I never heard Kamala Harris say any of that during the campaign, did you? I didn't hear Kamala Harris speak on this issue during the campaign. Did you? Now, I told this group of LA progressives, I come from the right. I am a former right-wing culture warrior. We on the right, we engage in these fights because we knew the left wouldn't fight back. We talked about LGBTQ issues. We talked about race issues. We talked about religious issues because we knew the left, Democrats, were afraid to fight in the culture wars. We knew they were afraid to fight. And they proved that out in 24. We got into it. I got into it with these LA progressives, but no, I don't think the Democrats fought back at all. Kamala Harris ignored this issue. Trump's out there spending money talking about transgender surgical operations in prisons. Trump went on the campaign trail in 2024, Donald Trump did, and he actually said that your third grade son can go to school, have an operation, and come home as a girl. Donald Trump said that repeatedly on the campaign trail. That is a gross, ugly, impossible to believe lie. But Trump, running for president, said that lie publicly, repeatedly. He said it in the one debate with Kamala Harris, didn't get as much attention because Trump also said they're eating cats and dogs, and that's what got all the attention. But the Republican candidate for president said that in America today, a 10-year-old can go to school as one sex and come home as another sex, get a surgical operation. That's not true. That's a lie. But the point is, Kamala Harris never said what I just said. Kamala Harris never pushed back. Kamala Harris never fought back. As Donald Trump is reigning Pennsylvania and Wisconsin TikTok and Michigan with TikTok. By the way, TikTok, yes, he did. By the way, timeout. I got to call a timeout. I need to grab my spoon, Mike. I need to call a timeout. Whenever I catch anybody on either side not accepting what Donald Trump said, I'm going to call you out. Donald Trump said repeatedly during the campaign that 10, 11, 12-year-old kids can go to school one day, one Tuesday. They can go to school as one sex, get a surgical procedure at school, and come home another sex. The guy in the White House right now said that. So MAGA, don't you tell me he didn't say it. You can agree with him, MAGA. It's not true. It's a lie. But be a big boy, be a big girl, MAGA, and acknowledge when your guy, your dear leader, said something. Not going to let you get away with denying it. But the left doesn't fight back on these issues. And now Democrats have really smart political consultants, smart people like Rahm Emanuel and David Axelrod, telling them to ignore all these cultural issues, all these social issues, all these woke issues. Don't talk about transgender Americans, Rahm Emanuel, James Carville, and the rest of them say, to which I say, bullshit. Talk about transgender Americans, Democrats. Most Americans are with you. It was really, really interesting sitting down with Los Angeles progressives, liberals, and they were beating themselves up over the head with this issue. Because they lost to Trump, and they're trying to figure out how they lost to Trump, they believe a big part of it was we went too far on the transgender issue. We fought, one of them said we fought too much on the transgender issue. I don't think they fought at all. But they're beating themselves over the head. And this worries me because I think they're really getting it wrong, and I think they're learning the wrong lesson. And Democrats take this from a former right-wing culture warrior. Man, fight the right on this stuff. Fight the right on LGBTQ issues. Fight the right on transgender issues. Fight them. Righteously fight them. Because Democrats, most of America is with you. What is, and I said this to the group of LA progressives, what's MAGA's position on transgender Americans? MAGA, what's your position? Hey, MAGA, give me an answer. Transgenderism. What do you think about it, MAGA? Transgender men and transgender women, MAGA. What do you think about it? Let's see if they reply. They may not. But the MAGA position is it's either a mental illness, a sickness, or it doesn't exist. It's a mental illness, it's a sickness, or it doesn't exist. That's the MAGA position on transgender Americans. The Democratic position, love and embrace all Americans for however they identify. Let every American live their truth. They're mentally ill, says MAGA. They're delusional, says MAGA. So I ask you, Democrats, who's got most Americans with them? Do you think most Americans think that it's a mental illness? Do you think most Americans think like transgender Americans are delusional or they don't exist? Or do most Americans think, look, that may not be my thing, but I'm loving, embraceful, and tolerant. Live your life. Be true to who you are. Where do you think most Americans are, Democrats? And you nailed it, MAGA. No men and women's sports. That's the common sense issue where most Americans take a common sense position, right? Men and women's sports, time out, hold on, that's not right, that's not fair. That's all. Common sense position. So interesting. By the way, again, here you know the drill. Every week I'm going somewhere in America and having conversations with people of all political viewpoints. I'm doing this because I think we're on the verge of a divorce. I do. I think America is on the verge of a divorce. And I think the only way we will avoid breaking up as a country is if we have marital therapy. And that's conversation, face-to-face conversation. So that's what I'm doing. We're filming these conversations and we're putting the content up on my Substack, Social Contract with joewalsh.substack.com. Go there and check out all the lengthier clips of all of these conversations. Thanks, Keith, that I'm having. Social Contract with joewalsh.substack.com. Go there. Subscribe, by the way. You don't have to pay to subscribe. You can be an unpaid subscriber to access all of this content. Gaining understanding. I can't tell you how much I grew to understand in just talking to and listening to these 6 Los Angeles liberals. Even to the point where they now are afraid to dip their toes back into the transgender issue. Check it all out on my Substack. Hey, one other quick one today. And this is what I led with, MAGA. And so now I'll explain it. On his deathbed, one day, when Donald Trump is dying and before he goes to his maker, Donald Trump's very last words that he will ever utter will be, Biden. It was all Biden's fault. Blame Biden. Biden did it. Again, Donald Trump, never responsible for anything he's done. Again, MAGA, Donald Trump is the antithesis of how you raised your kids. Just think about that. Donald Trump is the opposite of how you raised your kids. Don't do like Trump. Don't be like Trump. When you do something wrong, when you've screwed up, when you've messed up, when you've hurt someone, apologize. Say you were wrong. Say you were sorry. That's how you raise your kids. Trump's the opposite of that. So we just had a disastrous first quarter. In fact, MAGA, hey, MAGA, high five me, MAGA, TikTok. The economy shrunk. In Q1 this year, the American economy shrunk, contracted for the first time since 2022. Our economy shrunk. GDP declined by 0.3%. First shrinkage since 2022. All on Trump, all because of Trump's tariffs. The markets are cratering. The value, MAGA, of your 401k is down about 25% right now. Businesses and corporations are frozen. Their plans are frozen. They're not making plans. They're not hiring people. Why? All because of Trump and his crazy ass tariffs. So here we got, MAGA. Follow me, MAGA. I'm going to go slow. Donald Trump sworn in on January 20th. The moment Trump was sworn in, we had the strongest post-COVID economy in the world. That's a fact. By every measurement, by every indicator, we had the strongest economy in the world the day Trump was sworn in. I just love facts. I love data and I love truth. 100 days later, markets tanking, 401ks cratering, layoffs beginning, inflation going up again, and now the economy retracting. Recession looms near. And everybody with honesty and everybody with a head on their shoulders can see, right? Trump's handed the strongest economy. 100 days later, we're tanking. Whose fault is it? Hey, MAGA, 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 MAGA. Whose fault is it? Trump's sworn in. We're kicking ass. 100 days later, we're on our back. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? Trump this morning, Keith, do we have that? Trump this morning put out a Truth Social post, and wouldn't you know it, Donald Trump blamed Biden. It's Biden's fault, Trump screamed this morning. Biden's responsible for the bad economy, Trump screamed this morning. Biden, thank you, Keith. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. Stop for a moment, Keith. Keep that up for a sec. What a pussy. Hey, MAGA, what a pussy Trump is. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody with that language. What a pussy. What a baby. What a crybaby. What an absolute pussy Donald Trump is. This is Biden's stock market. He's been president for 100 days. Hey, MAGA, does that bother you? I got a serious question, MAGA. Keep that up, Keith. MAGA, I got a serious question. Does it bother you that your leader, TikTok, never, ever takes responsibility for anything bad that happens on his watch? Does that bother you that Trump never holds himself accountable? That Trump never says it's my fault? Serious question, MAGA. Does it bother you at all? I know that's not how you are. Christopher James, I know that's not how you are. If you fucked up, Chris, you'd admit it. David, you'd admit it. Every MAGA supporter listening to me right now, if you fucked up, if you did wrong, you'd take accountability. But you don't mind, do you, when your dear leader doesn't? This is Biden's stock market. Reminder, when Trump was sworn in, our stock market was booming. Booming. Oh, this is the Biden overhang, Trump said. This has nothing to do with tariffs, Trump said. All these bad numbers are Biden's fault, Trump said. Thank you, Keith. I'm a broken record. 100 days in. What an utterly horrible human being he is. But here's the deal. MAGA, I'll leave you with this. Everybody listening, I'll leave you with this. Donald Trump, his magic is that he lies about everything. And most everything he lies about, MAGA, America, most everything he lies about, big and small, you can laugh off or shake your head at, and it really doesn't impact you. But when Trump starts lying about the economy, Tim Trowbridge, don't be a punk, Tim. Hey, Tim, don't be a punk. When Trump, Tim Trowbridge, starts lying about your economy, it's not going to work because you live your economy. Like Trump can lie that he won the 2020 election, or he can lie about cats and dogs. But when Trump tries to lie about your 401k, Syrax, don't be a punk, Syrax. When Trump starts lying about your 401k, you're not going to believe him because it's your 401k. So when Trump says your 401k is doing great and it's down 40%, are you going to believe him? When Trump says you're doing great with your job and you were laid off a week ago, are you going to believe him? When Trump says the prices of groceries are down and you just went to the grocery store and you paid out the wazoo for your groceries, are you going to believe him? And when Trump says the economy's growing, but it's really shrinking, are you going to believe him? See, Trump can't lie. Well, he can, he will. But when Trump lies about the economy, he's lying about your life because you live the economy. The question is, are you going to believe him? Are you going to believe Trump when he tells you you're doing great economically when you're not? The market's up when it's not. That's going to be on you. That'll be on you. Hey, shoot me an email about anything. Hey, Chris James, I love this. Chris James, DM me. I'll come anywhere in the country, Chris, and just you and me, we'll sit down and have a conversation. Christopher James, I'm going to call you out right now, Mr. MAGA head. Christopher James, tough guy. Hey, tough guy, Christopher James. Christopher James, send me an email. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. Christopher James, MAGA guy, who gives me shit every single day on every platform. Joe, you're a traitor. Joe, you suck. Christopher James, tough guy. Open invitation. I will hop on an airplane or hop in a car. I will drive or fly to wherever you are, Chris James, and you and I will sit down and have a conversation. Hey, Chris James, you punk. You called me a punk. Hey, Christopher James, will you do that? Will you sit and have a conversation with me? I'll come to you. I'll come to your doorstep. I'll come to your favorite bar. I'll come to the restaurant in your town. We'll film a conversation, just you and me, a respectful, tough conversation. What do you say, Christopher James? Cincinnati, Christopher James, beautiful. You live in Cincinnati? I've got a sister, Chris, who lives in Cincinnati. She'll put me up for the night. Chris James, it's on you. You go after me every day, like so many MAGA do. This is your chance, Chris James, to sit down with me and have at me. Send me an email, Chris James. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. Everybody listening, beautiful, Chris. Chris says he sent me an email. Chris, I will come to you in Cincinnati. You and I will sit down. We'll have a conversation. We'll film that conversation. We'll do our damnedest to make it a respectful conversation. And to my face, brother, you can tell me what you really think of me. I would love that because I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone. So hopefully you sent that email, Chris James. If you did, I'll respond to you, man. Thank you. Cincinnati, great town. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you're having a great week. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract